Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Rally Podcast. This is the third episode of the 2018 season. I'm Mike White, joined here by Sean Boyer out in California and Logan Cornelius down in Texas.
Yeehaw.
The first Spikeball Rounded Association tour stop of the year starts next Saturday in Huntington Beach, February 17th. So with that, we got a couple things to discuss, some changes for this season. Before we get into that, I want to remind everyone that if you're going to Huntington Beach, to sign up today, Wednesday, or tomorrow, Thursday, because after that, prices will go up. So if you know you're going, trying to save some money, go and sign up, spikeball.com/tournaments. And with that, we're going to get into our first topic, which is some changes to the prize structure for 2018.
Yeah. So this year, kind of one of the things I'm most excited about is win multiplier. So before there's been cash prizes for first, second at every tournament. But one thing Spikeball's adding this year is a win multiplier. So reading it straight off the site, for every consecutive win in a regional series, Tour Stops, Grand Slam, Regional Championship, teams earn an additional 25% on top of the original cash prize, plus $300 travel stipend to the teams that earn the most points in the regional series. So that additional multiplier is going to add a lot of potential onto the tour series this year, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, so I've heard from someone that is the Chiswick Showalter multiplier, because I think that they'll just go to events. They almost did all four in the East Tour and got a big bonus. That's what there was last year. There was that $2,000 bonus for sweeping a tour. So now there's the multiplier. But what it'll really come down to will probably be who we predict will be number one in the West: Wabi Sabi, Origin Impact, and Chiswick Showalter, because those are the teams that last year took most of the events. Chiswick Showalter took a ton, Origin Impact took a ton, and then Strange Embrace, which has Jared Rouse now and Wabi Sabi, took a ton. So it'll come down to if they can win these tournaments and who attends the tournaments, because if they attend each other's, they may get in the way of that multiplier.
Well, that's why I like it too. I like it for two main reasons. I think that it'll help keep teams like Chiswick Showalter from getting complacent, because they show up to the events, they're like, oh yeah, we should win this one, but now they have a little more added incentive, like don't lose the streak. But then it makes all these other teams like, they've won 5 in a row, we can't keep letting this happen, and then they want to beat them. So it plays for both sides, and I think it'll make things that much more interesting.
Yeah, and if you look at like a division or the region like the East, where there's five tour stops in the East, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And then you take regionals, that's like, what, if I'm reading it correctly, that's like 100, that could possibly be 150% bonus on top of that. That's 6 consecutive stops. So I mean, it'd be pretty impressive to get there, but that's still it'd be quite a feat and be a real nice bonus.
So yeah, I guess I didn't pick this up at first, but you can't, tour stops outside of your region won't count towards your consecutive bonus.
So I think it's only consecutive within the region.
Got it. Yeah, I like that. So if you just sweep your region with all your regional series, that could be some good money in your pocket.
Yeah.
I also want to say, oh, you got it.
I was going to say a nice little bonus.
Yeah. I want to mention again the $300 travel stipend you mentioned. So that's each a men's team and a women's team for each region, regional tour will win a $300 stipend. And because that won't be awarded till the end of the year, and most teams will go to regionals and nationals, I think that'll be great for seeing teams come back in 2019, having some of the top players have a little extra of that travel money to come back.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a round trip flight somewhere.
So another thing, the small changes, one was that a little money allocated to regionals went over to Grand Slams, because we found that Grand Slams have, even though regionals have a little more at stake, I guess it's the end of the season, Grand Slams have been tougher, so a little money was moved over there. 2 is this tier system, where divisions, the highest division for both men and women, will earn different prize money depending on how many teams. So that means if a Grand Slam for some reason only has 8 to 31 teams, it will have a little less prize money than the one with 32 plus teams. And same thing, because it applies to the women's division. If a women's team gets 32 plus teams, they will have as much prize money as the open division. So it really just comes down to how many teams show up, and it definitely puts some pressure on players to recruit their friends and get those prize pools up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I want to keep incentivizing women to come out because it's the bigger we can grow that, I think the further the sport will go in the long run.
And I think there's starting to be a shift kind of in the whole community. Like, people obviously have wanted to see a little more cash prizes, and I think even like individual tournaments, a little more of that showing up too, starting with the Money Where Your Mouth Is, which is like the first like big cash tournament. And I'm hoping to kind of add on that with our DFW Lone Star Winter Classic coming up. Just put some of that prize money out there and make it kind of a more wow number to get teams out. There's a lot of different ways to mix it up. How's it? So basically for the Winter Classic, there's an advanced division, intermediate division. But
first off, where's it going to be and when's it going to be?
It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. Well, technically the Colony, but for all intents and purposes, it's the Dallas.
The Colony?
Yeah, it's the name of a city.
Wow.
I know. At a Beachcomber Bar and Grill. It's actually like a outdoor like sand volleyball court, which is pretty cool. So it'll be a sand tournament. But it's February 24th, starting at 9 a.m. in Dallas. So everyone listening to this, come. Yeah, but so it's basically an advanced division and intermediate division. Intermediate, $30 to enter and play. Advanced division, there's a $30 entry fee and then a $100 entry fee. The $100 entry fee is basically called prize eligible advanced, and then there's non-prize eligible advanced. So basically, if you don't think you're going to win it, but you want to play at the highest competition, you pay $30 and you can compete. But for $100, you become eligible to win prize money and prizes, which will go to the top 8 teams. And there's percentages broken up on the website. You can check that out on spikeballroundnet.com. But basically, it allows everyone to compete at the level they want, but some people can compete for more money than others. And we'll also, so the top 4 will be the biggest prizes, and then cash will be a little smaller, like a lot smaller for 5th through 8th. But we're going to get some kind of like hard prizes for them from different sponsors, just kind of incentivize them to show up. Because at some point, it's like, depending on how the registrations go and people, you can sign up and automatically be guaranteed a prize eligible spot if those haven't filled up yet. So I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out. People always take a long time to register, so about to start ramping up some of the marketing for that and see how it turns out, but I'm excited.
That's cool. I have a one question. So if a non-eligible team wins, would it just go to the next eligible team and they would get the first place prize money?
Correct, yeah. So if first place just paid the $30 entry fee and second place did pay prize eligible, they would win the first place prize.
Cool. That's awesome. I'll be curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, so basically it's top 8 prize eligible finishes. So someone could finish in the round of 32, and if they paid the $100, they could do it. So
I like it.
Maybe it's a hidden strategy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes.
So I see that there's starting prize money of $400 and $200. Did you get that from somewhere? Because it's not from registration yet. Are you hoping to get that back?
It's coming from somewhere. It'll come from registration, though.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Okay.
You don't get enough teams, you're bound to your word, man. That's coming out of your pocket.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. There's a calculated risk.
Yeah. No, I hope it works out. I've definitely seen some interest on Facebook about it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it brings some teams from some higher level teams. If not, maybe it'll just create a little more competition in state. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Nice. Sweet. So, along with that, we also have the typical Spike Ball Elite bonuses if you are a top men and women's team at the end of the year, accumulated by points. Then you get some bonuses there, some travel stipends, some jerseys, and stuff like that. So that's always on the mind of some top ballers. But moving on, also something else coming for 2018 is the Pro Division. So the Pro Division is something completely new. So over the course of the season, teams are going to attempt to qualify for this Pro Division. You can qualify by either placing top 2 at regionals. So there will be 8 teams qualifying at regionals. And then the other spots will be through cumulative points over the season. And so that would make 16 teams, and that is its own division at nationals. What are your initial thoughts on this, guys?
I love it. It makes me want to come back and play. I like that they're going to put the best talent into one pool and just have them go at it. And I like that you can get it through placing well at regionals, or you can do it from just like the people trucking along all season, building up their points. So it's going to reward sort of both styles of play. I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like, it's the best teams. It's what we wait for at nationals for, like, later on in, like, the top tournament. But it's like it's starting from the beginning, and it puts all the best teams in one place and allows multiple matchups, like with the double elimination, more good matchups, and like possibly even like more storylines within that of teams playing each other, and just a lot longer just realm of play in that, and it's exciting. And just like Sean said, the ability for teams to make that and qualify, I think it adds more of an exciting storyline throughout the season as well.
It's like kind of, we get a trade-off where, nationals last year we have almost 64 teams and just a bunch of players. You don't know who's going to match up, you don't know who's going to play who, and there's so many matchups during the day, and we will lose out on that this year. But I think we'll gain a lot with the speculation before and the progression over the season, and the weighted regionals being weighted a lot higher, with it actually giving you a spot. So I think there are rewards to it, but it's just more of a long-term reward over the season, and hopefully make it a more wholesome and followed season.
I'm almost looking forward to, because some teams won't make the pro division that probably feel they definitely should be in it. And don't get me wrong, winning there's still going to be a premier division below that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Winning that's still very respectable. That's a huge feat. But if you're playing in Premier and you want to be up in Pro, it's just going to make everyone chomp at the bit to like get into the Pro division.
It's going to be interesting to see just like what's the effect on the Premier division. Like how are the players in that, like the competitive spirit within that with the Pro division. I mean, I think it'll still be high and it'll be exciting to watch, but it'll just be interesting to see the dynamic of how those two interact.
Another big thing is it encourages teams to stick together for multiple tournaments, like the multiplier.
Absolutely.
Get teams to stay together, because you could get a bunch of good results with a bunch of different partners, but that won't matter when you want to get into the pro division. So it'll encourage at least sticking together for 3 or 4 tournaments if you can. Try to get some good results and hop in there.
Yeah.
And Mike, you might know this. Has the format been decided for the pro division at nationals? Is double elimination a thing, or?
It has not been decided. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think with that 16 teams, double elimination is probably likely, but I don't want to say anything official here. And there's also
I thought I'd read that somewhere, but apparently I hadn't.
You might have. There's a lot of
I don't think so.
Leniency on what we could do, so definitely have to decide that, because with 16 teams you could do a lot of pool play stuff, you could do a lot of cool bracket stuff. So we'll see how it swings. Yeah.
I would be devil's advocate against double elimination, but I don't know if we want to get into that on this call. Maybe a future one.
Yeah.
But
we could have a nice double versus single discussion at some point.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
I'd like that topic.
Yeah. We won't get into it today, though. But with that, I also want to say, so over this year it is cumulative points over the season. But I had the list here of the teams that would have been in the Pro Division last year, but this is just including their top 5 finishes. As far as I know, this still is the same list, because any smaller results wouldn't have passed these point values. So this isn't the official list it would have been last year, but I'm pretty sure it is.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah. So we have our top 8 from regionals, which was the winners: Chiswick Showalter, Bud and Bowls, Easily Dug, and Anchored Long Island. And I believe so. Bud and Bowls would have got in on points for that second place. That first place. I think Easily Dug too, but it's also like it goes hand in hand. If teams are going to more tournaments, then maybe they wouldn't, because I believe it was maybe 400 points or so, and teams get some good results over the season, they'll have more points than these first place finishers. Also, so the second place finishers, Origin Impact, Strange Embrace, Spicy Ruby, and Bolivia. So in their Impact, Strange, and Bolivia all would have made it, I believe, without that second place finish. But Ruby had to sneak in. It was their first tournament of the year. So that's why it's good to have that little thing, because we had three teams, Button Bulls, Easily Dug, and Ruby, sneak in with their good finishes at regionals.
Yeah, these semifinals at regionals are going to be so intense because you just got to get through that one round to be in at nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I like. At least before there was the power pool like 2 years ago, and I missed that. And so I'm glad that kind of value is being added back to the semifinal games.
Yep. So then after that, going by points, we have two guys, Golden Set, Point Loma Spike, Hilltop Spikes, Origin Force, PB&J, Tetelestai, and Ohio Against the World.
You made it, Logan.
Sneak in there.
So if you look at that list, that's some teams that had a bunch of good results, but also a couple teams that had 1/4, some quarters, and stuff like that. So you really didn't need that much, and then they'll get some extra bonus points from their other finishes. But I do think that given you go to 5 or 6 events, maybe having 1/4 and some good quarters should be enough to make it. But I also don't know how many teams are going to be attending tournaments this year and if they're going to up their game.
So let's do a hypothetical. Is there any teams from last year that you thought should be in that did not make it?
So if you go by kind of how the PR and where the top 15 were at, Origin Chaos is notably missing because they were a top 10 team for most of the year. But when I first looked at this, if you look on paper, they should not have been here, given they went to Dallas. Unfortunately, they lost to Strange and Origin Impact for not a top 4 finish. Then they lost in the quarters 3 times.
Wasn't that to Origin Impact?
Yeah,
most every time.
Yes, every time. So they lost before top 4 3 times. If they had a 4th place finish or something like that, probably would have snuck in. And also they didn't play regionals together. So they both got one of them got 2nd, one of them got 3rd at regionals. So if they played together, they probably would have done pretty well. So given that, I'm not really surprised. If they played regionals, they would have made it. So it's kind of they didn't really not make it, I guess, because I'm thinking like they would have made it if they went to more tournaments and didn't play Impact at all of them, or 2 played regionals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like for the most part, it was fairly accurate last year. The system, at least.
And besides that, there were a couple teams in like the middle, like Do a Barrel Roll was in that 13th through 18 this year. So they just missed it. And what that came down to is they had a bunch of quarters, but no top 4s. So like Tetelestai's 3rd, and Ohio Against the World's 4th pushed them over. So yeah, but overall it was pretty solid of a list, and I was pretty happy when I retroactively looked at it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. It'll be this year's fun because a lot of the regionals happen on the same day, so teams will have to find out that day a lot of the results, and they'll see if they're in or not. It'd be cool to get a live scoreboard of where everyone ranks.
I think
a lot more of that NFL like playoff feel to it, or like when you see players playing like the NFL playoffs, like they don't know what's going to happen until it's over.
And like same thing, even if you don't get top 2, getting 3rd and 4th at regionals is a bunch of points too. So that you can also just like even if you don't make top 2, you still have to fight really hard at regionals to try to do well. But I also believe this year that the point structure changed, and Grand Slam regionals used to be more than Grand Slams, and now they're equal because of the skill level comparison that I stated earlier with the prize money. So that'll be something. But speaking of that excitement, I do want to mention that next week for Huntington Beach we will have fantasy like we had going for nationals.
All right.
Very excited about that. We'll get some prizes going. You guys can go on draft your teams using the budget that we set, and try your best to pick the best combination you can.
What if my
Yeah.
favorite team isn't playing next week? Can I draft them and get points?
You can draft them and get 0 points.
Hmm.
It might be worth
Good
it,
to know.
though. They'll like you.
So is it you draft? I forget. Is it going to be the similar as last time, where you get a certain budget and you get to draft players and teams, and how well they do is associated with the points you get?
Yeah, so we're going to set a budget. For Nationals, it was $1,400. And then each team has a cost. For example, Chiswick Showalter was $900. And Telestai, Logan's team, were you $130 maybe? So then from there, you draft, he's shaking his head, you draft 6 teams and have to stay within budget. And then afterwards, the teams get the point values that they do for a tournament. And you just add those up for all the teams you had and see the score.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm like
thanks.
thinking down the road when we get to the point where you're drafting individual players and their performance gets points like all other fantasy leagues. So
How many aces?
if you get 5 aces, it's worth,
Yeah.
that'd be
Can't wait.
down the road.
Yeah, I'm excited
Do you
for
have
that.
to?
What's
Do you have
that?
to draft 6? Do you have to draft 6 players?
So I'm using a website. I'm not sure how specifically it works, if it will let you
Okay.
draft less than 6. But I was thinking that you have to draft 6 because then you have to be a little more creative. Instead of taking that 5th team for 200, you have to take someone for 130 and someone for 70. You got to
I like
make
that.
some tougher decisions. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I'm really excited about that. Look out
Should
for
be
more on
fun.
that next week, probably the Thursday before Huntington, the 15th.
Ooh,
Because that's when registration closes, and we'll post it. We'll blast it.
it's
And there'll be
starting.
some sweet prizes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some speckball.com gift
Yeah.
cards and get hooked up.
Get hooked up and
Right.
get looking good. Let everyone know that you're sick of fantasy. That you know your stuff.
That's right.
Mhm.
Dude, the season's starting. It's coming
know.
up. It's crazy.
I know. So it's starting slowly. We start with Huntington Beach next week, and then we don't have a tournament for about a month in San Diego. But before that and after that weekend, we also have all the college sectionals. So a little bit of a break before the season starts, but we have a bunch of college stuff going on too. And then after that, we hit April, and it's like every weekend, like back to
Yeah.
back to back to back. You know,
Full swing.
yeah, actually, it's Atlanta, San Francisco, Chicago, College Nationals,
Crazy.
Lancaster, Madison. It's just, yeah, and I can keep going actually for probably
Someone's
until
just going to be
August.
piling up the dough from this fantasy because they'll just be winning every week.
That'd be pretty good. They're saving up to buy Spike Ball. But yeah, so I'm excited. It'll be a good season. We'll get on next week, talk about Huntington, get some previews going. Maybe talk about single versus double, or we'll save that for a different time. But I like that. I like that.
I enjoy that debate. I think I fall more on Sean's side. But I'll save my points for later.
Uh-huh.
It's good to know. We got him outnumbered.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get some. I think Anthony likes single too, so I'm not gonna invite him on. I'll get someone on. I'm not even saying I'm on the double side, but I
For the sake of
probably
the
am.
argument.
But I
You
probably
prefer
am.
triple elimination.
I prefer no tournament at all. Just come and play pickup.
Just have some fun.
Why eliminate people? It's not fun if you're eliminated. Everyone gets a medal.
Backhand lefty pickup.
Oh, that's the best. Excited about that. Also, if you're coming to Huntington, come to the meetup on Friday. I also wanted to say that we are thinking about renting out a racquetball, I guess, I don't know what to call it, arena. There's a bunch of different
Facility?
courts. Yeah, facility. So the night before Huntington,
entire one.
maybe have a little bounce spike tournament where you're allowed 1 bounce.
That'd be fun.
If you guys haven't tried that, I was very skeptical for like 2 years. Every time I would send Skylar Bowles a Snapchat of us playing inside, he would say, use the bounce, and we didn't until he was here in January, and it was really fun, really tiring, because the rallies go on forever. And
Endless.
you little crafty drop, you think these were so good. Nope, they're just going to let it bounce and pick it right up. You got to really think a lot about that.
I saw the video and it looked like a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of awesome rallies.
And we only played for like 3 or 4 games. We had a great time.
Really.
Yeah.
It's fun.
When I still play pickup inside, we usually don't do it, but I'd recommend it. It's really fun. Just try it.
Good to know.
But yeah. Well, you guys don't have to play inside like us.
We might during the summer.
Oh my
Your
goodness.
winters are like our summers, where it's like
They're
above
not.
100 degrees. I mean, maybe a little less extreme, but still,
Yeah,
it can be pretty dang hot.
I know. Or that I also kind of at some point want to go over, pros and cons of playing in a racquetball court because I've found some benefits and I've definitely found some negatives to it. So maybe be on the lookout for that. I just got that idea earlier today. But
Coming soon.
Jot it down.
soon. Yeah, so that's all we had for today. A little quick one, go over some things. And that's it. Look out next week for fantasy, previews, polls, all stuff for Huntington Beach, as well as a new podcast. And we're excited for the start of the season. All right, thanks, Sean and Logan.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
All right, and we'll see you guys later.
Later.
Bye.